You're listening to the Impact Implosion on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
It is March 2nd, 2017. It is another episode of the Impact Implosion here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. As always, on the other end is the gone TNA superstars to my new TNA superstars, Mr. Mike Poland.
Maybe cut some talent to get some people I've never heard of. I've seen the spoilers.
Oh, boy. Day one, and we're already going to be in pain for the next few weeks. I already see the pain coming. I already see the pain coming. So, we had a lot of news. Unfortunately, a lot of people left. Yep. First, we lost Drew Galloway.
Which we already knew he was leaving anyways.
Yeah. But it was official.
And Maria.
No, actually, then the Hardys left.
That's the big one. I wanted to save that one for last, actually.
That was going in order. The Hardys left. They wanted to drop the tag titles, but Anthem said, nah, we don't need you to do that.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. I know. But I think one of the big thing is they want to own the broken gimmick, and I think that may have been one of the bargainings. The Hardys wanted the broken gimmick because, they actually created it.
Oh, and for the people saying they should go to Vince WWE like that, if they go to WWE, they're not going to be broken.
No, they're not. Then it was Miracle, Mike Bennett, and Maria who left.
Well, Maria kind of teased that she would be leaving at the end of last year anyway.
Yeah, both of them left. Yeah, actually, I heard they signed a contract. They did. A day later, they're gone.
Oopsie.
Yeah, day later.
Well, that's $150,000 Anthem is going to save.
Yep, they're gone. Then Jade.
That's another shocking one because who do they have for knockouts now that can actually challenge for Rosemary's belt? I mean, I guess just in time to do the Knockouts Knockdown taping on Saturday, but.
Yeah. So that happened. And with Jade gone,
who's not ready.
And with Jade gone, now you have Kingston's not far behind, which screws up this whole DCC thing. Which, by the way, in the tapings they're already teasing dissension.
Yep.
So for a group that never got going in the first place, they're already gonna break them up.
Yep.
Because TNA kept saying nope. You lose here, lose, law, L. You lose. So who do we get in replacement for these for the future?
I love you.
Bruce Pritchard, who signed with the company.
You mean the same guy who forgot people to renew people's contracts before?
Yes, before the infamous lockdown situation where Bobby Roode contract was expiring the day before the pay-per-view, and they didn't know until like a few days before that. I
still can't believe that happened. How do you let that happen?
And as a joke, Aries and Rude did a joke where Aries acted like he was alone, and then Rude showed up at lockdown. Yeah. So that happened.
Dutch Mantell's
the head of creative.
That's not too terrible.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett is the producer.
Also not terrible.
Here are the other signings as far as the tapings go. Reno Scum.
Ooh!
GFW tag team.
Oh, yes. They've also done Ring of Honor dark matches. Okay, I've heard of them.
Yes. Let me get the other ones here. Because
Possibly Magnus
may return, but he was not official.
Matt Morgan, possibly as well.
Matt Morgan, yes, possibly as well. Even though, dear God, it sounds so stupid.
Why?
Garza Jr. and Laredo Kid.
Ooh.
I guess
Lucha guys?
Yeah, Lucha guys.
Hector Garza Jr.?
I'm guessing.
Is he going to be juiced to the gills like Hector was?
I don't know. We got another guy we got
Abraham or something.
Idris Abraham.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him either. You might have Czech Congo coming in.
Congo Kong!
Oh, Congo Kong, not Czech Congo. My bad. Congo Kong.
I've heard of him because he was in Top Prospect Ring of Honor a while back. So I didn't know
there are a few guys that you...
And, of course, someone who will debut.
Who they said was not going to show up, Alberto Davidtron. Oh, wait, Alberto Elbatron, because TNA's freaking graphic team fucked up. No, seriously, if you looked at the tapings, you will see that when Elbatron was first revealed, he was Alberto Davidtron, which means Albert from Boss.
Whoops. We don't know English.
So we don't know Japanese, we don't know Spanish, which this is why it's Albert the Boss, which is El Patron. Alberto the Boss.
Yep.
So,
and he's going to debut in a big way, sort of, next week.
Oh, God, yeah. If it's next week. Also, Angelina and Davey Richards are now known as the Natural Born Killers.
Like the song.
Like the freaking movie.
Where's New Jack?
Okay, yeah. We just need to... ODB's back, too, by the way.
Yes.
They brought back ODB, so...
She fought Laurel Van Ness in an explosion match. I can't imagine that was good.
No, I can't imagine either, but I think we need to get to the show.
Oh, boy.
Because, yeah, this show had a bunch of good matches on it. Unfortunately, I think most of them were cut down like hell because they put too much on here, and you could tell the cutting room came. We started the show with a match that had no fanfare whatsoever, the last knockout standing.
Didn't they do a segment last week?
Yeah, they did, but this week they just basically threw it out there as the opener.
I guess what else could you have open the show?
And since it's Jade's last match.
Yep.
So
unexpected at the time.
So Madison's on commentary, and during one of these moments, Madison seems to have a problem with Rosemary using weapons over Jade using her wrestling abilities in a last knockout standing match.
They also say that Madison's been in one of these before. I don't remember that.
I don't remember it either.
I know Gail and Taryn had one.
Yeah, it's the only one I remember. That's probably the only memorable one.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
match is good.
Match is good, yeah. And then when Jade starts using weapons, Madison is fine with it, so I just shrugged my shoulders on that. Jade body slammed Rosemary onto a trash can, and Madison thought that could be it.
Nope.
Hell no. I was like, oh my God, you legit think that could be it?
I know you're supposed to suspend disbelief, but my God.
Yeah, have you seen these two? Rosemary used the miss on Jade while Jade was in midair. Then Rosemary hit the Red Wedding. Jade gets up at 9. We had Rosemary hitting the Red Wedding onto the floor. Jade barely getting up before 10. Then Jade powerbombs Rosemary onto the steps.
Ow.
Yeah. Rosemary gets up at 10. Then Rosemary again has some miss left.
She got up at 10, the match would be over.
No, she got up before 10, yeah. Rosemary hit Jade with the mist again, and a third Red Wedding onto the ramp. That does it. Rosemary retains. Jade's gone.
I was thinking they were going to do one off stage like they would do in WWE. Nope. Kind of an unspectacular ending, but a good match.
Yeah. Then Moose saying Cody made a huge mistake, and I have choice words for him in the ring. Then we get back to Cameron, North Carolina, where House Hardy, because this is supposedly the last of the Expedition of Gold, I guess, or they might have more. I don't know. Brother Nero needs to test his new abilities against Vincent Van Gogh, who is an obsolete mule. You might have heard of the famous.
He's also dead.
Yeah, the famous. A lot of these guys are dead. A lot of these vessels who are in other animals are dead.
Spirit animals.
Yeah. So Moose comes out. He talks about Cody, and Josh admits, Cody ain't here tonight.
Yes, he is.
No, and Cody's calls him a big old ugly bitch. And Cody was here tonight, and sneak attacks, and he's like, good. And Matthews starts being the heel announcer.
This was kind of a hot segment, too.
Yeah, they really... Security comes out. Moose just powerbombed one of them onto the floor for the ring.
That's a lawsuit.
Jesus Christ. Hope that guy got a good pet medical, because Christ. More fighting, more security gets thrown
Josh
around.
Matthews, and we get the job squad.
The goobers who come out because they got to break them up too. Brandy yells at Cody to stop. Cody says, all right, I'll leave my moan. And then he throws Josh Matthews. And supposedly, I guess when they did this, they weren't going to turn Josh heel. They were not going to turn Josh heel when they taped this. But he had been such a prick that they eventually said, yeah, just act like a heel. So Moose gets in the ring, does the suicide dive onto Cody and security, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, Pope says, order needs to be restored. And we go to a commercial break.
This was a hot segment to set up this feud.
It was. Then we get in the ring, and James Storm comes out to fight Jesse Goddard.
And we get the
by the way, Josh starts talking about how I'm back here. I got some broken ribs and stuff. And any other announcer would have been, any other great play-by-play guy would, like JR and stuff, would be out. Would be out for the week or, shut up. He's going to say this a lot. So there's a lot of shut up Joshes tonight. Then Josh is being a bitch on commentary, and Kingston is helping James Storm, and Josh is wanting JB gone. He hates Jeremy Borash.
And Kingston interferes, which for some reason does not cause a DQ.
Oh, yeah. So Josh says we are going to show the wedding, and we are going to have 2 title matches tonight, the X Division and the World title matches, and Josh talks about how he is undefeated in the ring and used to be a high flyer.
When the hell did he wrestle?
He wrestled like once or twice in a few indie promotions.
Did he pin JBL, or was that somebody else?
No. I don't remember him pinning JBL or something. I don't know if that happened or not, but yeah, Josh did not have many matches. And he used to say how he's a high flyer. He never was a high flyer. In fact, one of the
undefeated
big things,
in matches that no one saw, Josh.
In fact, one of the big negatives against him during Tough Enough was that he's a small guy, yet does not do any high flying maneuvers. He's not nimble, just for being a small guy. So they don't know what to do with him.
The only flying he does is whenever he gets tossed around.
Yes. So Kingston gets in the ring. No disqualification to any of this, as he gets physical with Jesse, although Jesse hits him. Distraction caused the refs to never see James Storm tap out the Adonis lock, and Bram uses the chair. Bram uses the chair. Storm hits the last call. Storm wins.
So, wait a minute. Jesse can beat the other... I guess there was interference. But yeah, Jesse
No. They're not going to beat James Storm. James Storm's a leader.
Yeah.
And it took all 3 of them.
Good
it didn't
booking.
just take 1 or 2. It took 3.
Good booking.
Yeah. So yeah, this stable's been a clown, and as things are looking, it's
bombed. This stable bombed.
And the sad thing is, I truly believe this stable was a big plan for but I fortunately think it was a Billy Corgan idea.
And that's why it bombed. And you know what happened.
TNA said, "Fuck off" with that. So Don West wants to give us a baseball bat.
Buy our shit.
Give us a baseball bat, Jeff Hardy baseball bat for $29.99.
No.
And you'll get a cap too for free.
$29.99.
And I was like, no.
So yeah, the doctor character from The Simpsons is like the Shyster character. $29.99.
So
nobody's gonna buy it.
The X Division title match, and this was cut immediately because
Everett's already in the ring.
And they never announced him in the match ever.
And this seemed like one of those that could have been way better if it was longer and maybe not cut.
They announced and his opponent in the middle of this thing. You're like, whose opponent? If you didn't know, whose opponent? And it's Trevor Lee, the X Division champion.
Yeah, good lord.
And Josh starts talking about how Trevor Lee and Gregory Helms did what was right and trimmed the fat in getting rid of this guy, the weak link.
The weakest link.
Josh still talks about how great of a ring competitor he was, and so great that he retired almost immediately from wrestling. Yes. Almost immediately. You become an announcer.
Yeah, you wrestled 2 matches and they were matches that probably nobody saw.
Yeah.
They were for that Hogan promotion that failed, I think.
So Pope announces that big changes are happening, and Josh is like, well, why didn't you send me these big changes? Why am I out of the loop here? Which is funny because Pope's not going to be on commentary in the future.
Swerve.
So Josh thinks Andrew should do something else since he was kicked out of the club, and Pope rightly says he's doing something else. He's beating them. He's trying to take their title. And then Josh, again, another shut up Josh moments. He said, Helms asked me for my autograph once. A lot of people do.
That never happened.
No. You'll get the worst, which never happened, and we have proof of that one, but that'll be later. Everett had a match won with a Hurricanrana, again, very sloppy, because the guy hits his head.
Trevor Lee won the match.
Trevor Lee won it. I said Everett had the match won.
Oh, okay.
But Helms pulled the ref. Everett chased the ref, went for a shooting star press. Lee got the knees up, rolls up Andrew Everett and grabs the tights for the win. Josh is saying that's a smart move. And Pope's like, bullshit. And by the way, we go back to the House Hardy, where Vincent Van Gogh is a legit mule. And Jeff is trying to feed the mule, and there's a llama. He says, get away from me, Dalai Lama. So yes, the llama is the Dalai Lama. And he says, what's that?
Oh, I'm going to miss these segments.
You want me to get a shark? But where would I put this shark? In my saltwater pool? Brilliant!
Oh, I'm going to miss these segments so much.
And then Jeff has a premonition, and he tells the rest of the group, we have to go on our next expedition. And in our next expedition, we will be outnumbered. And immediately, they teleport, and I am not making this up, to a flea market.
Was Billy Kidman there?
No, but the funny thing is, Matt says, at least it's not a bingo hall.
That might be a step up, actually.
And so they actually know, since there's a flea market, there must be wrestling nearby. By the way, this is Maryland Championship Wrestling that I've been teasing for the last few weeks. This was the Maryland Championship Wrestling one. So Hardys talk about how they want the title shots, and the guy's like, dude, we did a 64-team tournament, and we already chose it. We have a number one contenders. So meanwhile, the number one contenders are in the back. Senior Benjamin wants their autographs, and they're like, hey, Senior Benjamin wants our autographs. Cool, let's give this guy. So as they turn their backs, Senior Benjamin tases them.
That's idiotic on 2 levels. A, you're supposed to be the wrestler, not the marks, you idiot.
No, but no. That wants our autographs. So yeah, they'd be rude not to give a famous celebrity an autograph.
Okay.
So
why would you automatically assume? I guess I don't know.
Yeah, you'd never turn your back on Benjamin if you watch the show enough. But okay, the promoter gets told that their number one contenders are out, and they're like, "Okay, guys, I would give you it, but I don't have the budget to pay for it." And the Hardys are like, money is for marks. We just want to procure your gold. So yes, well, this is basically a very interesting match. Jeff at some point gets attacked, I guess while the ref's not looking, so Matt's in the ring on his own. By the way, this is their Entourage team that I was talking about. So Jeff gets attacked backstage by, I think, the number one contenders and freaking the ex-number one contenders. So freaking Benjamin has to save his ass. We have a funny moment where Jeff Hardy Brother Nero gets put into a trash can on a recliner. And they're about to hit him when he disappears, and Brother Nero and Benjamin show up with fireworks, and they're like, oh, screw this. Yep. So they get chased away by Nero and Benjamin with fireworks. So,
oh, my going.
Yeah, we're all going to miss this. So Brother Nero comes back to the ring, and Brother Nero ends up pitting both members of the Entourage, and the Hardys are Maryland Championship Wrestling. Or as they called them, National Tag Titles.
Huh?
The National Tag Team Titles.
I think that's a territory, not a...
Yeah, I know, but whatever. They don't call them by their actual tag title names. So they they're in a photo shoot with the titles, and they teleport away. And they vanished. Oh my God! So one of the photographers,
they took our belts.
They didn't care about taking their belts. Photographers cared that they freaking teleported. What the hell?
We're in the middle of the shoot.
So yeah, the Hardys won this tag belts, and I would say this continues. I don't know what's going to happen now with the future of these. They did not in these tapings explain the future, so maybe we'll get more Hardy segments, kind of, or maybe not. I have no idea what's going on.
TNA, everybody.
TNA, yeah. Seth, yeah, you really need to keep the Hardys. This stuff was gold.
Yeah.
So, okay, Moose is getting checked out backstage. Drew Galloway goes, you know what? You've been wanting this title shot for a while. I'll let you have it tonight. You know what?
Even though you've been beat up.
You got 5-10 minutes to get in the ring. Meet me in the ring.
Oh, boy.
So we get a look back at the wedding, and Josh says the reason that is the most controversial wedding ever is because he said so.
Shut up, Josh.
Yes. So then they replay the whole wedding thing, whole storyline, and then Mackenzie Mitchell goes backstage, and she sees Laurel still in her wedding dress, drinking with tears. She is complete, and she admits her dad. This wedding cost so much, and their dad blew all their money. I think that's what she said. Her dad blew all their money in Rome, so basically, she's poor.
I'm poor!
I'm broke, bitch! So, Laurel hates Braxton and Allie, and Josh is like,
oh boy.
That's just poor Laurel. She got dumped at the wedding, and they find the perfect time to dump this all on hers at the wedding. And Pope is like, have you seen her? She was kind of a bitch.
I can't wait for the Laurel Alley feud.
And it's like so Pope, you all like millennials. You don't like this stuff. You all like millennials. So, grand title match between Drew and Moose. And the worst part about Josh being heel is that several times during this match as a heel, he was right. I am not believing this. Drew hits the Celtic Cross onto the steps of Moose, and that looked pretty painful. Basically, Drew wins round 1, despite the fact that one judge picked Moose to win for whatever reason. And Josh said, that should have gone full Drew. Then we go to commercial breaks, and we get the same commercial with California Psychics. And they're a bunch of psychics from California's a company. Psychics of California and stuff. And say their tagline is the best or it's free.
What?
I know. And I'm like, boy, you're going to have a bunch of free people who are going to get in free. So if we go back to the match, Josh is talking about the woes of society and all these people are like, you don't understand and stuff, whatever. Galloway, and really the big thing is that, Galloway's out of the ring, and he says the ref should be counting him out.
Yes.
And he says, he says 10 seconds go by, and he's like, there, Galloway should be counted out. Moose should be new champion. Moose should win. But he basically says this, and I'm like, oh dear God, Josh is right. What is this ref doing? What is this fucking ref doing?
Was it Earl Hebner?
I don't know what ref it is, but I don't know what it was, but why are you making the heel commentator right? Probably because you didn't plan for a heel commentator, and as a heel commentator, you were trying to face, and you're like, oh dear God, he's right.
Shit.
So they get back in the ring. Galloway, Death Valley drivers Moose onto the apron, and Moose power bombs Drew Galloway onto the apron. Moose wins round 2. Josh agrees with this, although barely. It's like, he really was like, okay, Moose might have won that one. And because Pope pointed out the countouts thing, and he's like, yeah, you're right on that. He did kind of spend 60 seconds on the outside. Yeah, 60 seconds on the outside. He should have been counted out. They basically admit this. Drew spent a minute on the outside, was not counted out. So, basically double boots, and Josh says, I don't trust these judges. I don't trust these judges. And I'm like, I've been saying that for a long fucking time, sadly. I really do not trust these judges. So, Moose nearly Moose does a powerbomb, tries to do a powerbomb onto the apron or stuff, but nearly overextends the powerbomb, and Drew nearly falls out of the ring, like that ref from earlier. So Moose has to catch him and bring him back in the ring to hit the game changer. And Drew kicks out at 2. Referee's trying to break them up. Drew hits a low blow behind the referee's back, hits the Claymore, and then a tombstone pile driver, but that's just a 2 count. Then Moose and Drew do the infamous Matt Morgan Crimson spot where they just grab each other in the head and start punching each other. And I'm like, are they going to do this at the end? But nope. Drew hits a Claymore. Moose doesn't sell that and hits a game changer. Then sells it. As they both sell their moves. And that's the end of them. And Moose wins the grand title 2 judges to 1. Josh is upset, saying that the world title should not be changed hands because of fucking judges.
That's pretty much been the pile of changed hands every time.
No, not every time. Most times, actually, they've won just the match ended, but they actually did. So most of the time, the match they'd never get to the 3-round finish. They'd rarely do it, but now that they're doing it often. And Drew Galloway, how's he leave this company? He grabs a judge by the tie, does nothing to him, grabs his chair and throws it out of anger, and that's it. That's the end of Drew Galloway in TNA. Lame. That is how he leaves. Lame. So they re-show the Josh Barnett video package from last week of Josh Barnett talking about how Franklin is improving. He is the best champion, so I'm going to make him fight for it and all that. So we get Franklin and Barnett, and holy shit, this match got cut.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Here's the thing, guys. First, Josh Matthews says Josh Barnett made headlines debuting in the Impact Zone. Nobody really cared. And Josh, in the dumbest moment, talked about how, Franklin and I were having a friendly conversation in the ring. You interfered, and you got exactly what you deserved, which was a spear. I'm remembering it differently, but I seem to remember Franklin was about to beat the shit out of Josh, or started getting physical with him and was going to spear him. Pope came in to save him, and still Pope got the spear. I seem to remember that's how it went.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Franklin wasn't beat the shit out of you. No friendly about it. So Barnett has a key lock, but Franklin gets out of it. And then, and this was pretty quick. Not a really long match. Franklin spears Barnett and wins the world title. Here's the problem with this.
That's not how it happened.
At the tapings, they actually had Barnett for a few seconds win the world title. And then the refs been like, no, Franklin's foot was on the ropes. He was not champion. So they did this spear thing. And even then, I don't know about this, but did you see it too? Barnett's shoulders weren't down. One of his shoulders was up. What?
Dodgy finish.
Yeah. One of his shoulders was down. One of his shoulders was up. Yeah, one of his shoulders was up. So, and that's the end. And ultimately, I was talked into giving this show a C because the Hardys was good, and so was the Knockouts title was good. But this was a pointless episode because we know what's happened now.
Yep. We
know what's happened. We know who's gone. We know all these people are gone now, and this they've basically hit the reboot button.
Yes, they have.
this was just, and sadly, this is probably going to be the best show for a while. Looking at the tapings, I think we're both going to need some alcohol to get through these next few shows.
Oh, boy.
Because it's going to be, like JR mentioned, and JR spoiled this, so don't say I'm doing spoilers. JR did this on Twitter. The new announced team is Jeremy Borash and Josh Matthews. JR said this. Not I. JR spoiled this. So, yeah, that's your new announced team, which sounds really bad. So, because Josh doesn't need to try hard to be a dick. He just is.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with Michael Cole all that time. He really didn't need to try hard to seem hateable. He just was. But when they made him more, when they had to make him try to be hateable, it got annoying. It did not get heat. It got X-Pac heat. Where you just like, go away. Stop this.
Guerrero heat.
And sadly, in the end, it had to take Jerry Lawler getting a fucking heart attack, and Cole could not act heel anymore because he was legit concerned for his partner, as he should, and he could not even hide the fact he was trembling through that whole... You might remember this. That Raw, he was trembling through that whole thing.
Yeah.
Nervous as that. He's like, yeah. And most of the time, he didn't even talk. The matches didn't just... happened. He didn't talk. He was like, is King okay? Is King?
Yes.
Yeah, most of the that's what happened. So Josh showed humanity and Josh showed normalcy.
You mean Cole?
Cole, yes, Cole. So Josh is just being a prick.
Yes.
And Josh doesn't need to be a prick. He was a prick. He was he didn't, on his own, he absolutely did not need to show that he was a prick. We all could tell with his saying something's trending when it wasn't, basically comparing Grado to Dusty Rhodes, which was insulting, I should add, but you didn't need that. And sometimes he would bash Pope. Not as much as he does now, but he would bash him at times. And he just absolutely would feel that, and he's a prick.
Yeah.
He's a very egotistical person. Who has
no right to be egotistical.
No, he doesn't.
He's done nothing.
He's done nothing, but you don't need to try to go, just be yourself and just say, he's the heel. He's the guy you're going to hate at times. And if you hate him, good. But people like that are not supposed to be, heel announcers, normally play-by-play guys don't work. They never work.
No, the heel announcer has to be the other guy.
Yeah, the commentator has to be heel.
The Jesse Ventura, the Bobby Heenan.
But yeah, Josh Matthews is not a commentator. He is a play-by-play guy. A terrible play-by-play guy, but he is a play-by-play guy.
Right.
So, unfortunately, that's going to happen.
Yep.
And we're going to have to get ready for 2 shitty shows. For a bunch of shitty shows in the future, with a bunch of shit people telling us, how shitty the old Impact was, and all that stuff. So,
and that's always good.
That's always good to say. Yeah, the past doesn't fucking matter.
Don't remember this. Don't remember it.
Don't remember the past. Fuck the past. It's the future now.
Yes, the future's bleak.
Yeah.
And on that note,
do you have anything to sell?
I do. March 17th, Limitless Wrestling presents Hysteria in Westbrook, Maine. And so far announced, we have Beta Scott taking on Taylor Hendricks, Ace Romero taking on Keith Lee, and in the main event, we have Matt Sydal taking on Ricochet, as well as Ethan Page taking on Tyler Nitro, and much more.
And, as you know, last Saturday, another big wrestling name we forgot to mention. Impact may be bringing in Donovan Dijak.
That's a good get.
That may be a good get, yeah.
He's actually really good.
Yeah. So, and Matt Riddle, they're
I haven't seen Riddle yet. I know a lot of people have said he's good.
Yeah. So, that may be interesting. They're looking at him, too.
Good. least try to spice up the roster a little bit.
Find some good people out of the mess that you've created. But yeah, last Saturday I did my induction of Devil Dog Hound of Hell.